Dear friends, good morning. It is my proud privilege to welcome you on behalf of Professor Brahm Singh Horticulture Foundation, BSHF, a not for profit organization, and my own behalf as BSHF team to this 5H webinar series, talk number 17. BSHF is thankful to NIPA, New India Publishing Agency, New Delhi, for sponsoring this webinar series. Today, the webinar is on technology for future fruit production by Dr. Shailendra Rajan, former director, ICAR, Central Institute of Subtropical Horticulture, Lucknow, and one of the co-organizers. This is second talk on the more or less same topic, being an important topic. And the first was delivered, as some of you may be knowing, by Dr. V.B. Patel from ICR IRI New Delhi. Friends, today my colleague or one of the co-organizer, Dr. Preetam Kaliaji, he is traveling at this point of time, and I have requested my daughter, Miss Rachna Singh, to formally introduce the speaker. I request Rachna Singh to formally introduce the speaker.
Thank you for this opportunity. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Shailendra Rajan today, who was director at ICAR, Central Institute for Subtropical Horticulture, Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. Currently, he is working as tropical fruits consultant at Alliance of Biodiversity International and CIAT Asia. He is an experienced scientist skilled in bioinformatics, biodiversity, molecular biology, biotechnology, and agronomy. A bit more about Dr. Shailendra Rajan. He was born in Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh, and he did his MSc from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, and PhD from Indian Agriculture Research Institute in New Delhi. He began his career in 1986 as a scientist at the Central Institute of Subtropical Horticulture, where he went on to serve as the head of division of crop improvement and biotechnology before retiring as director of the institute. His contribution to horticulture science includes development of high-yielding guava varieties such as Lalit, Shweta, Dhaval, and Lalima. He created and released mango varieties such as Ambika and Arunika. He developed interspecific wilt-resistant rootstock. Dr. Rajan's outstanding contribution has been made in mango and guava genetic resources management as well, also in augmenting and maintaining one of the world's largest field gene banks. He was instrumental in developing of technologies such as mango regeneration, wedge grafting, guava crop regulation, GIS application in germ plasm management, and the creation of National Mango Database. He actively contributed to the development of ICAR Fusicont and in vitro immunization technology for the management of wilt epidemics caused by T4 race of Fusarium in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Dr. Rajan was instrumental in establishing the Society for Conservation of Mango Diversity, Mahilabad or Malihabad, which focuses on farm conservation. The Genome Savior Community Award instituted by PVV and FRA Government of India was given to the society. He has been instrumental in coordination of tribal farmer development in Bengal, which aided in the development of Jagriti and Sehbagita for the improving of livelihood of resource-poor tribals. He has written and edited 5 books, 15 bulletins, in addition to 150 research papers, 250 popular articles, and technical reports. He is the chief editor of the Journal of Applied Horticulture. Dr. Rajan has had the honor of working as the IPGR consultant for status report on genetic resources of mango in the Asia Pacific region in the year 2000. He was a resource person for information documentation of tropical fruit genetic resources and use of GIS technology for 5 years. During his 37-year tenure, he received numerous awards, a few main including Dr. R.S. Paroda Award for Excellence in Horticulture in the year 2012 and Sri Girdhari Lal Chadda Award in Fruit Science. So this was a little intro about our speaker today. If there are any questions to be asked, you can type it in the comment box or in the chat box. When they will be displayed, they'll be answered. And now I request Dr. Shailendra Rajanji to deliver the webinar.
Thank you, Rachna. I will start my presentation. First of all, I thank Dr. Brahma Singh ji for giving me this opportunity to talk on the technologies for future fruit production. So, I think my screen is visible. My screen is visible. Hello.
Yes, visible because everybody was on unmute.
Okay.
It's
okay.
visible.
Thank you.
It's visible.
Thank you,
Kindly
thank
go
you,
ahead.
thank you,
Kindly go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. As you all know, India is the country of fruits. Or fruits are common here, as in the variety of fruits are available, and we are producing about 10% of the world's production. And some of the states in India, those are performing extensively well, and about 74% of the fruit production is going on from those states. And interestingly, all the commercial fruits of the world can be grown in India due to varied agroecological zones, and we are ready and equipped for meeting the estimated demand of the fruits and vegetables, particularly which is required for the 2050. So I will not go beyond the fresh fruit industry because I am concentrating on that. I am not touch upon the processing and other areas of the fruits, particularly which has been already dealt by many other speakers. So in India, the fruit industry is a huge driver for the horticulture growth, and it has contributed significantly, particularly economy in the economy, and it is a area which creates jobs, and because it has a labor intensive value chain, and the climatic geographical conditions of India make it more prominent profitable because we are growing different types of fruits very well commercially. Then globally, the fresh fruit consumption changing, the fruit supply chain is undergoing the massive transformation. That's why our technologies are to be also fine-tuned. And now the trend is changing in this direction, particularly in domestic market also, towards quality rather than the quantity. So future drivers will be particularly the stringent regulatory requirements, the traceability and other transparency, food safety. These will be the areas where we have to dealt upon. So I will start with the fruits, which are most important as far as the returns are concerned. A lot of technologies have been developed for the high-tech cultivation of these fruits. Banana is well known for that. People start banana cultivation, then they don't go for any other crop. They replace sugarcane with banana because of the very high returns. Papaya was considered as, and now even today also, it is a very crop of very high return. Grapes, everybody is knowing we are leading in exports, and particularly the grape industry is coming up with a very, very great growth rate. Then in between, two of the crops have come up during last decade. First was apple bear, which is a highly prolific bearer with a high, very good size, and people are getting a lot of this benefits and profits out of it. And the pomegranate had made this revolution in several states, starting from Maharashtra and reaching towards Rajasthan. Guava is becoming one of the most important crop as far as returns are concerned. Several of the farmers or the orchardist, they are giving it to the contractor and getting about 80 to 90,000 per hectare per acre without putting any inputs in that. So these are the some of the crops, and some of the areas guava is replacing grapes also, because the grapes require too much labor, and guava is less labor intensive crop, and inputs are also there. So apart from mango, many other fruit crops are also important in India. Now gradually people are growing those, so technologies are available for many of those. But because these temperate crops are available in only markets, and there also we are getting through imports. Very small amount of these fruits are produced in the country. Apple, apricots, strawberry, pecan nut, hazelnut, then plums, persimmon, then raspberry, blueberry. These are becoming common in the markets, but now we have to equip ourselves with a better production. But luckily, many of the varieties which are being introduced for these crops, those are well suited to the country's condition, and we are going to produce them in near future. And the demand can be met, which is being met through import, it can be met through the self production. I should talk about some of the indigenous fruits also. These will be the future crops, and it is considered as a future crop now, all in these Southeast Asian countries particularly, because it has a, a lot many uses. It is a very hardy crop, very less inputs are required, lot of biomass is produced, fruits are available, which can be utilized for the vegetables, for flakes, and now number of value added products are coming up, and the jackfruit is having an entirely different journey and very much valued, particularly among the orchardists also. In future also it has lot of value. The crops in like jamun, which was considered the huge fruit trees, the fruiting starts at 8 to 10, 12 years after a long juvenile period. Now this crop is being produced through grafted plants. Varieties have come up. The grafted plants are also well managed with a different pruning system and training systems. Our Dr. A.K. Singh at CISH and Dr. A.K. Singh at Godhra, they have worked lot on these varieties, and varieties with more than about 90% of the pulp are available. Seedless varieties are also available, and training pruning systems are making it a crop for the organized orchard. Otherwise, this crop was only grown at the boundary, and the seedlings were grown. Now it has several. I will not talk much about the value-added products. The jamun wine is of high value, and the fruits are in demand for the processing also. So another crop which was ignored, and the two huge plants were there, small fruits with a lot of gummy pockets, lot of seeds, less pulp, and with a inferior type of pulps were available. But now the varieties have been developed. Again, the grafting technique is available. Lot of fruits are, lot of planting material is available, and this crop is also coming as a future crop. Because if you see in summer season in Delhi market, you can find this crop, this one bale fruit for 100 rupee. So too much costly, which was ignored in the villages. Now it is getting a lot of attention. Then a lot of demand is coming up for the avocado, rambutan, blueberries, figs, raspberry, macadamia nut, and many others. Figs, then raspberry, because these fruits are available through import, and now the growers have started. Some innovative growers have come up. They have started strategizing the technology. The research institutes in respective geographical regions also started working on the technology, which can particularly work, which can work and will be viable for the Indian conditions. So these crops will be the future crops grown commercially to cut down the import burden on the country. So I will start with the mango, because we have more than 50 fruits which are being commercially grown. All the fruits can't be dealt here, but I start with mango, because the attraction of the red peel of is mango, apple, pear, any fruit. The attraction is somewhat which attracts the consumer, and the market demands depends on it. So international market demand was for the red peel cultivars, and it was dominated in international market particularly. Now the It has coming up in the Indian market also because colored varieties are available. People are going for that. Initially, red colored varieties were there, but those are not of good quality. So sometimes having fiber, sometimes less pulp. But now the varieties are in the market, and it is coming up. So, but the locally we have developed the preferences for the yellow and green varieties, and in Asia also we have that type of consumer preference. But the local variety gets, which whether it is yellow or green, gets good price. But with the changing scenario in US and UK market, where the only red colored varieties were preferred, there also these yellow and green varieties are now being preferred by the consumers, some of the consumers, because they know that the fruit peel color is not associated with the quality, and they found that variety Atalfo, which is a now leading yellow colored variety, it is coming up with a lot of welcome in the market. So some of the varieties are there, but these have not come to the commercial level. Some in this Southeast Asian varieties are also coming. Carabao from Philippines. People are now growing Nom Doc Mau and now Nom Doc Mai, then Kensington from Australia. So many varieties may be there, but these varieties may, I don't know whether future varieties will be there, these will be there or not, but people are trying. But definitely some of the new varieties will come with the hybridization between the exotic varieties which are colored and the Indian variety. So the journey started with the, I should say, the commercial journey with the Amarpali and Malika. Their contribution is the IRA's contribution in this tremendous. And although the hybrids were developed in Bihar long back, but those could not be commercialized. But the Amrapali and Malika, they well commercialized, but it took about 50 years. But now with the changing scenario, because the grafting methods are available, planting materials are available, and now the varieties which are newly developed, those are coming up within few decades. Initially, it took a half century. Now it is in within 1 or 2 decades. The scenario is changed. So these are the methods which will be useful for further extension of these varieties. Although the variety are not replaced too much, and varietal replacement rate is very, I should say, less in case of fruit crops, particularly in mango. But now the things are changing. The preference for bioactively compound-rich varieties is also increasing. People are now considering the color and the bioactive compounds, how those are important because they create immunity. And during Corona, people have become conscious about it. So the mangiferin and lupiol-rich varieties may be important in case of mango. The mango, guava, bale, amla, you talk of any of the crop, now we have the method. We can multiply them in millions, but with the availability of the mother trees, mother plants, and the infrastructure, and the plants propagated that can take care for the future demand. So the mango, not only these crops, mango is being now propagated with, which was propagated through enarching. Now it is going to be propagated by this wedge grafting and somewhat modifications. And it is being, mango is being promoted through all these newer methods. Guava, which was difficult to multiply, enarching was the only method, layering others. Now millions of plants being produced by newer techniques like wedge grafting, developed. It was refined at CISS Lucknow and now adopted different ways in different parts of the country. I will give you the one of the chain how the from starting it has become an industry. The seed sowing, everything has become systematic, organized, and how the plants are being produced, and millions of plants being produced. It has gone to the public sector also, from public to private sector, and VNR nurseries are producing millions of plants of different varieties using this technique with a systematic way. Then we should go to the other technologies which are required. Particularly, I am talking, limiting my talk on this for particular in canopy architecture for the mango and guava, indicating for other some of the crops. So most important is the it is a training of the mango tree which is required from the initial first day, and if it is not there, you can't have the good canopy and architecture. The canopy architecture engineering is becoming important, and the flowering can start with these all these techniques with a in a ultra high density orchard or high density orchard within 3 years. Particularly, the most varieties are very those are having very those are precocious, very small juvenile period, and the flowering can be induced through using peclobutazole also. So in south and other parts where the synchronous flowering is a problem, in subtropics synchronous flowering is a important, and it is very common due to the temperature effect. When the low temperature effect releases, the synchronous flowering comes up. But in other parts of the country where the temperature, day and night temperature is not difference is not much, there synchronous flowering can be produced using technologies like pruning, as well as the role of growth regulators like peclobutazole cannot be can't be underestimated. So the mango was not considered as a plant to be pruned so heavily as we have apples and others. Just after harvesting of the fruits, it can be pruned drastically. The hard pruning is one of the key for producing new shoots for which can differentiate the flower bud and the flowering place. And for this purpose, just after hard pruning, the peclobutazole application important. Otherwise, the entire these flushes will not be able to flower. Then the use of peclobutazole not only for the regular cropping, it has been worked us in a collaborative manner involving some of the centers. We found that this can be commercially utilized in particularly Konkan region, where application of peclobutazole during May that can induce the early flowering. It can advance the crop, and the farmers can get very high price, because when the early crop is there, the crop may be 2000 rupees a dozen, but the normal crop may end with the 60 to 80 rupees a dozen. So we found that the peclobutazole can induce early flowering, but it is not possible in entire country, and sometimes it is harmful, because if we induce early flowering in north, in particularly subtropics, there is a damage due to the frost, low temperature, no pollination, pollinator activities are not there, the crop is lost. So early flowering is somewhat difficult to maintain, to get to be utilized for particularly the fruiting. But in case of Alfonso, it has been very well demonstrated. Then 3 months early peclobutazole application induce 3 month early advance the fruit maturity for 2.5 months in the same year. But in case of northern parts, if you apply early, the early flowering will take place. It is not good for the crop. So canopy management is one of the areas where different technologies are coming up. The left, the general, very vigorous plants, crisscross branches of a guava, you can see no fruiting wood, where the fruiting will take place. It is somewhat different. In middle, the well managed canopies, smaller size fruit, the plants, those have been kept, and those are highly productive. And at the right, it has been trained on the trellis system, where a thin patch of the guava plants going vertically with the help of trellis. That is one of the area where you can get good quality fruits because of the light penetration on and good light exposure to the fruits. This is the technology which is going on in temperate zones in different areas, where now the very narrow canopies will be there, and the fruit hedges, these will be about 10 to 11 feet tall, the canopies, and these will be maintained through the mechanical side sharing, and the labor cost will be less. And these are only possible because of the Maling 9 and Maling Mutton 111 rootstocks, and a good 1,000 plants are accommodated per acre. The training and pruning is one of the important area. I am giving one example how a person in Pune has trained a grapevine which was planted at the grapevine is showing. I am showing it. It has been planted on the ground and he has trained it on the top, and 250 kg of good quality grapes he has harvested, and good quality grapes can be harvested with the training, pruning only, and I'm not going for that in detail, but the technology has come up in a very, very great way. Another important area where we have to work, that is irrigation, particularly the groundwater depletion. It is very fast in most of the part of the country. Therefore, the drip irrigation is becoming important, and drip irrigation, particularly surface drip irrigation, is common, but the subsurface drip irrigation is also becoming common in many parts of the, particularly in fruit trees. It is one of the ways to save a lot of water. The fertigation coupled with the drip irrigation, it is a now reality in particularly for commercial fruit production, and lot many plants you can see, like this example of in a nursery, you can see these plants where the fertigation can be very easily done with a lot of economy for the nutrients application. So not only the surface drip irrigation, but lot of changes are taking place in the subsurface. This drip irrigation, it is becoming common. It may be the future technology. Now the partial root zone drying is also being attempted, and with regulated deficit irrigation, there are many methods. Now the sensor based this drip irrigation systems are available, and but the drying cycle and the drippers on and dripper off, that can induce the partial root zone drying, and the reduction in the water absorption, water requirement, the water economy and water use efficiency is increased, as well as the quality is also improved. Another technology which is going to be one of the important technology, because a lot of problems are being faced due to climate change, the pest, disease, the bagging, it is coming very well, particularly in many of the crops. I should say that in some of the areas, the crop can be only produced use of bagging with a good quality bagging. With good quality fruits, bagging has become must. Not only in mango, but in guava also. Several of the varieties can only be produced using bagging. These are the kesars, which are kesar fruits, right down right. Those have been produced. Kesar variety of Gujarat, and it has been bagged, and it can be produced at any other place also with a good quality. But the color development in bagged fruits is somewhat a limitation. For that, different types of bags are being designed, as well as the bags can be removed before the harvest, 4 or 5 days before harvest, or it has to be standardized for development of the anthocyanin fruit surface, because peel mostly is it is having anthocyanin pigments, and that require color. That requires solar radiation. For that purpose, bags are to be removed, or the bags should have the penetration of the spectrum, which can induce the anthocyanin, and which can help in the biosynthesis of the anthocyanin. So this is too much bagging is required in some of the systems, and this bagging is very difficult. Sometimes it is not, people say it is not economical, but it is economical. It is beneficial also, and it sometimes people are ignoring it. But bagging is one of the important tool. I am showing you one of the bagging example from my house. The bat were creating problem for the guava. I bagged it with a simple polythene, small bags, cut it at the two ends, so the the environment is manipulated, or the humidity is reduced, and the dew or the condensed water can trickle out. So you can see the lower right, how sparkling attractive fruit is there. This is a light variety, but the variety can develop a good color, good quality in rainy season also, when it is very difficult to produce the fruits. Rainy season fruits are attacked by the fruit fly diseases. But if you have the bagging can add to the good production of the good quality production of the fruit. So for this purpose, now bagging tools are people are developing, so that these tools can be utilized and manual labor can be reduced. And these are the two examples. A is in apple, B is in beer, where this tool has been used for the bagging. And schematic diagram I have shown you, this can help in the bagging, and it can be utilized for the bagging, and lot of development may come up with this bagging tool. And in near future, these tools will become common for the orchardists, because is adding sometimes lot of profit. Sometimes the cost of the fruits increases twice, and the input cost may be 1 or 2 rupees per fruit, but the return which we are getting, that may be 20 rupees a fruit. So people are realizing it. Initially people were not so much enthusiastic or interested, but this is a regular feature in China, where the in nearby the coastal area, in Thailand, or the humid areas, where lot many problems are due to the humidity, insect and pest or disease attack. So in that case, the bagging is the answer. So another important area which where the fruit technology will be requiring technologies, particularly the root stocks. Initially, we had emphasis on the root stock, which has to be dwarfing. Dwarfness, as we have seen in the apples, where the malignine was important, and in the same way, people were working to produce dwarfing rootstock in case of mango. But here, mango plants can be made dwarf by pruning and regular use of paclobutazole. In the high density orchards are possible, commercially viable with the use of this technology. And rootstock is only being utilized by some of the countries like Israel 13-1, particularly for the problem soil, the soil. So we also worked on that, and we collected from the indented area of tsunami, the post-tsunami the collection were made by the 42 mango accessions. Dr. Damodaran was involved in that because he had a long experience in that area. And out of all the 6 polymorphic types were selected, and then for field evaluation, we found in the sodic soil, the high soil pH, the seeds of this ML2 and ML6 showed the high tolerance to the salt stress, and with the survival 100% survival. And it was similar to the 13-1, but additional advantage may be that these two root stocks doesn't require that much water as we require in case of 13-1, because 13-1 requires regular drip operation, particularly. So in these two rootstock ML2 and ML6, we may have better production. Again, the fruit setting in 13-1 is too shy, and very less number of fruits are produced, because these rootstocks are produced from the nucellus seedlings. So that's why fruits are very much required. But here in these two ML2 and ML6, those are profuse bearing types, and lot of chances are there that these can be commercialized. So there is a change in the groundwater depletion abstraction. So there will be shift because of the groundwater level up to 25 or beyond that. Also, the conditions of the groundwater availability will be different in case of in the central and southern part, and in North India. Still, there will be possibility of growing all these crops successfully. Banana, which is considered crop of South, particularly Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and other, that has come up well in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. It is now nearing about 90,000 hectares, which is now in comparison to many of the commercially producing banana states. But bad luck was with these two states that they got TR4, tropical race 4 infection. The fusarium wilt caused by this strain has created havoc in these areas in UP and Bihar. So several of the districts were affected by that, and about 90,000 hectares which has come up in UP, and that may be restricted. But the interesting thing is that UP has exported bananas from foothills to the other countries also, and containers have sent from Lucknow. But this will all have a break if this disease is not managed or contained. So, but luckily, the team of CSRI Karnal Regional Station Lucknow, led by Dr. Damodaran and CISS, that managed it using a technology or developing a technology, that is ICR Fusicon. The technology, it is a biopesticides, and it has managed controlled the banana Fusarium wilt, particularly in these areas which were affected by this epidemic. And the areas, many areas which are there, which are very, very prone, particularly in northeast also, where tropical race 4 may be affecting. But the ICR Fusicon technology has helped the areas, farmers of the areas where race 1 is there, and race 1 can also be very well managed. Additionally, a technology has been developed, that is a pre-immunized tissue culture plants, and this technology has been tried, and it found that up to 7 to 8 months it can save the plants from the this deadly disease, and Fusarium wilt can be it can be avoided up to 7 to 8 months, and plant can grow very well. So these are two technologies which have been very well received, and ICR Fusicon technology, the efforts of Dr. Damodaran, particularly, that has gone to the for the global licensing and the national licensing. Particularly, this technology has also worked with the cumin, and about 200 hectares have been subsidized by the government, Rajasthan government, because it has controlled the Fusarium wilt in cumin also. This is a technology which is being used, which can be used in many other crops, and it is going successfully. It is showing good results. Another important area to be flagged is mango wilt mango wilt, and we are in search of mango wilt tolerance, because there are different strains of the Ceratocystis fimbriata, which is a causal organism for this mango wilt. The mango wilt was not common in India, but it has come up. It was common in other parts of the world, in Pakistan, Oman, and then Thailand and other parts. Now it is in India also, create a problem. But it has been found that some of the clones can show the resistance to this deadly wilting organism, and the resistance has to be worked out. So now this is one of the flagged area which will require particularly the search for the tolerance. And there are different types of soils are to be worked out for this resistance tolerance, and but it has to be done in the priority. It will be the priority area. Otherwise, mango industry will be badly affected. Another important problem was guava wilt. The interspecific rootstock were developed with the using Cedium guajava with Cedium mole, and it is wilt resistant. But the problem is still there because the multiplication rate is too less. We have to search for the higher multiplication technology with a higher multiplication rate, and the synergy between the nematode and fusarium, that is important, because where the nematode attack is there, the fusarium proliferates, and this particularly the wilt disease is apparent, and in many parts of the Uttar Pradesh, which were known for the banana guava production, like Allahabad, this has created havoc. Then another important problem which has crept in, that is Melidogani interlobi, which was not there in India. It has come up. People say that some of the rootstock like Cedium fresthallium, Catalianum, and guineans are resistant, but one has to see it. And but these are maybe incompatible with the Cedium. In the field condition, Cedium mole and some Cedium guinens and several Cedium guajava were considered susceptible. So at least for particularly this nematode, we are in search of the tolerant rootstocks. But more recently, a hybrid between Cedium guajava and Cedium guinens, this BKS guad, has been reported from the Brazil that it has resistance. Then this resistance, particularly for the important nematode, as well as for the other soil conditions, we have to work out. But guava has a large array of the wild relatives, and those have to be particularly evaluated and worked out. So there is possibility that we can get guava rootstock in future. Otherwise, in future, lot many problems guava industry face. The Milidogani interlobe, it has entered into India from Bangladesh to Kadiam to other parts of the country through the cuttings of the Thai pink guava varieties, which were not particularly commercial long way, but now those were multiplied in millions, and those were supplied in different parts of the country. But those are also not those have not also become the commercial variety, because the orchards are sick within 1 or 2 years, and after 2 3 years the orchard dies because of root for the root system, which is poor root system. That's why we have to think about the progression of different pests and diseases also with the planting material which is being introduced. Another important problem which is the grape industry is facing, that is due to the untimely rain, the climate change problems, climate change induced problems are there, the rain or the just before ripening. So the growing of grapes under the cover, it has become commercial. It is becoming commercial in different parts of the world, and it has found that the berries are ready earlier, and the ripening time is shortened. Then bunches are more attractive, and those are sweeter also. The TS is also high, and it reduces the impact of several of the external agents like rains, sometimes very cold also, very hot also. The temperature, those can be managed by enclosing the entire plant, or sometimes only for the protection of the rains. So drones are also in the fruit production. Those will become a technology, as a particularly hyperspectral imaging was initially attempted using drones, but it is very much important, particularly for the plant health. Plant health monitoring the orchards, because the orchards are the trees are too large, the too big area has to be covered. Their drones are very handy, and these are useful. Particularly the yield prediction, it is becoming important for, it may be important for the insurance purpose, of any other purpose. So yield prediction can be done through drones, and some of the models which can be utilized. Then phenology is of the orchard, and the most of the crop are is important, particularly for all the operations like I should say the spray of different pesticides, then nutrients, and many operations are based on the phenology. So that can be very well particularly monitored using the drones, and the drones are very cheap now, and those can be utilized particularly for managing the orchards. Orchard mapping is one of the areas where orchard can be mapped using drones, particularly for different types of requirements of that particular specific area. Then real-time monitoring is also important, and it can be done particularly for the epidemics of disease. And some of the miniature drones are available, and special drones have been developed which can be utilized for the pollination. These drones can rub themselves on the anthers and take the pollen, and but not at the cost of bees and butterfly population. But in nature, bees and butterfly population is struggling. That's why the importance of drone is important becoming. I will show you one of the example. When we were working with the Dr. Damodaran in epidemic area of the epidemic, where we utilize it, and the signals were analyzed, and you can see that this work we did with a limited facility in our laboratory, and we can pinpoint the areas or plants which are going to be affected or which are affected. So it is one of the important areas where drones can be utilized very judiciously. Another area is pollination. Date palm pollination is one of the problem where compatibility is there, pollen application is there, where drones can very well aid, or drones can aid to the different operations which are required, particularly in date palm pollination. It may play a role. In other crops also, the drones are important. Lot many sensors are there, but the sensors are particularly important where the area is too large. Then yield monitoring systems, these may be there. The yield mapping for that sensors are there. variable rate fertilizer application tools are there. For that, sensors are there, weed mapping, then variable spraying. The variable spraying is becoming important because the input cost, reducing input cost, as well as reducing the this runoff or the application of the insecticide to the soil, not to the plants. That is sometimes becoming important. Then topography and boundaries, salinity mapping, guidance. Many sensors are being developed and utilized. Then simple smartphone apps will also become the future technology, particularly helping the farmers and the fruit producers. And there, the photos can be taken by the any this smartphone, and it can be forwarded to the experts. The IoT and image analysis will play important role here, and this can be very well answered by the experts. Then fertilizer calculators based on the sensors which for leaf color that can be that can determine the nutrients need, and that can be utilized. Then water requirement that can be also be required, that can be assessed, and crop harvest readiness that can be through the camera photo which can be attached to a smartphone. It can be done. I will not go in detail with geographical information system. It is sometimes important. It is in background where you are using GPS, then you are using particularly the GIS, geographical information technologies. That will be important for particularly the developing the identifying the suitable areas, varieties, availability period, how the off-season production can be useful. These type of things, and producer and traders, many things, databases can be done. Then suitability of the variety can be worked out, where the color will develop or not, where the variety is suitable. Then this some of the examples we have used for Northeast, and where the particular area has been utilized for the commercial production of the some of the varieties. Then artificial intelligence is coming in a big way, where the agriculture IoT, because it is having a very high growth rate, about 10.8%, and it will reach about 2.6 billion by 2028. This is a somewhat prediction, and IoT is being assisted by several of the hardwares, several of the equipments, machines, and that is artificial intelligence is required for the particularly sometimes detection of the diseases, or many areas are there where IoT is being involved. The sprayer with the ultrasound sensors are there, so that they can have the spraying only on the canopy, not outside, or it may not penetrate here and there. That the selective spraying can be done. Then these are the some of the prototypes have been developed, which may come further as a commercial. That different sensors are there, different levels, and they produce these mist. Accordingly, they spray with a minimum input requirements. So soil wireless soil moisture sensor network is also important. It will become important in orchards also, because when we will having a this limited water availability, these technologies will be definitely utilized for that purpose. Then real-time estimation of the chlorophyll, that particularly related with the crop health, that can be done with the simple your drones having capturing the images, and that can simple index, that modified soil adjusted vegetation index, that can predict the chlorophyll, and the relationship has been worked within. This is for the Kinno orchard or orange. Then some of the orchards are there. It is having the application of Internet of Things, IoT. So these are the entire orchards are like that, and beautifully managed using these technologies. I will not go in details. Particularly, some of the systems have been also monitoring device developed Android platform for data acquisition and analysis. So this can take care of temperature, humidity, gases. It can produce the graphs. It can warn for the disease, and the warning system can be for many other areas. Then the spatial and temporal variation in the apple orchards or any orchard, it can be variety versus year versus variety. That all those can be done through all these techniques. the special analysis techniques are being used, might not be requiring a lot of inputs, but these techniques can be particularly utilized for the input application as well as harvesting of the trees and or the replacement or removal or management of any of the package of practices. Then robots are becoming important, and orchard reports are robots are becoming common because the fruits which are to be harvested, those particularly with the tomato, now it is becoming in peaches, cherry, many of the crops it is there. Mechanized shakers are there which can shake the tree, and the walnuts can be harvested by that. But robots can selectively within 1 minute they can harvest several of the fruits very well, place on the boxes, it can pack also. So these type of facilities will be available to reduce the labor intensive cost. Here, this is one of the examples of China, where because these lamps, LEDs, that have played important role in case of vegetables and plant factories, but in outside also this is doing well. In China, about 600 acre one this patch was with the dragon fruit, but they were not getting good price out of it because the fruiting season was too less. But afterwards, they have simulated the long using the lamps during the night, and this simulation could induce the flowering. And when the temperatures are not too less, the flowering can produce the fruits. So this long day simulation through the lamps, this is one of the technology which has been used in acres, hundreds of acres, and a good quality dragon fruits were produced. So this is one of the substitution of the light through this type of technology may work in the plants which are having the long day or short day requirement. Then there are many challenges in the fruits, particularly if you say the export market or the high-end domestic market. There people are now concerned that what are the inputs were used, which quality was used, and the aggregation of the farmers input they produce, it is a very somewhat unorganized in case, and they don't get good price. So for that purpose, and post harvest processing, sometimes it is not defined how it is taking place, how the harvested it is the fruit were harvested, packaging was done, storage and grading, and there are many losses also, but there nothing is being documented. And sometimes there are example of ripening of mango and health hazards, it is there. Ripening, maybe sometimes chemicals are used which are of not permitted, banned chemicals, and lack of cold storage and transport infrastructure. So these are the challenges, but the blockchain solutions are there for getting a high quality fruits. Then we can have the crop management and tech validation of the quality inputs through blockchain solutions, and tracking of the package of practices deviation from we have to follow certain good agricultural practices. Those are to be well defined. The traceability, that will be important, particularly in future fruit production. The traceability will be the one of the areas which has to be considered by the Indian fruit producers. Then post harvest and inventory management, it is most importantly for all these issues. And not only that, it will definitely have the higher operational efficiency and reduce the collaborative transport platform with network of the stakeholders, that is important, and they reduced price. There also blockchain solutions are important, and end-to-end traceability, that is showcasing of the product, strong story from farm to the fork to build consumers trust. It is going to become an important part of the high quality and good high quality price fruits. So futuristic technologies, most of them, if we see, then presently those are not in common in Indian orchards, but those seems to be very modern, and sometimes we find that they are very unusual. They may not be with us. They may not be applied under Indian condition, but in future it may become the reality and it may become common, because as we all know, the smartphones in the form it is today, it was not about a decade back. So the smartphones are in orchards operation also, the operating different type of drip irrigation system, different automations. So smartphones are having an important role. Nobody perceived it. Ola Uber like services, nobody thought about it, but those services are available. Individual can utilize it without any uh, hitch, and that's why that type of services have become common. In the same way, the technology will also. We never knew about the Flipkart and Amazon will become a part of our life, and we will be depending them partially on these marketing platform. In the same way, these futuristic technologies for the fruit production may become important, and we may be there to see it in our orchards. But the constraints which are there in under Indian conditions, particularly for adoption of the machinery, of the higher end technology, that is a fragmented land holdings, which is again depleting the area is deplete per unit per head is deplete, and the high cost of the technologies. These are the two limiting factors which are going to reduce, which are acceptability. Particularly, we think that this is unsuitable for Indian conditions. But many of the technologies which are not dependent on the holding size, many of the technologies which are not dependent on the cost, so those can be very well adopted. Those technologies will be definitely followed by the Indian producers, not only for production for the domestic market, but also for the export. But we have to think about it, and the way forward is that locally suited transformations are required. Many of the technologies can be modified. The Indian Jugaad system is well known all over world, and we can modify it. Those technologies can be developed, they can be tailor made for Indian conditions. Several innovations will definitely take place when the people will be exposed to these technologies. These technologies will definitely give ways to develop a low cost method, be not having many, which might not be versatile, but it may be useful for the Indian condition, the local condition with the limited resources. Then cross learning and innovation will definitely take place with these technologies, because the technologies lead to the innovation, and those innovations are mostly by the transformation by others and adopting it. Then transboundary fusion, this is also important for particularly technologies, and this will find place, and interprofessional collaboration will be there initially, and the specialists in different areas are not coming together, but now the electronics person, the horticulture man, the physiologist, the breeder, and we can't imagine who is going to attach in the team, who is become the part of the team that will come up. And the stakeholders network, that will become important, because if the stakeholders network is there, then the utilization of infrastructure, machinery, and the technology will be highly efficient, cost effective, and so these are some of the areas. But the cluster development which is taking place particularly for fruits, those that will be any of the technologies, because infrastructure will be developed, all modern technologies will be adopted. So in days to come, these technologies will be definitely available and adopted for the fruits. Although many of the technologies are easier to use for vegetables and other crops, but for fruit crops also, the modifications in the technologies and the more transformation will definitely give a newer pathway. So I end with the fruit fall and produce where it is not grown. That will become important. This is the production technology which will take the technology to other places. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Rajan, for very, very exhaustive talk. Anyway, we will comment upon little later. Savangi ji, if some question is there, please display. George V. Thomas, doctor, whether you can read it?
Which are the fruit crops more affected by climate change? What are the mitigation measures recommended? So most of the crops are affected. I give example. The mango is affected. That in subtropics, the scenario is entirely different. In other parts, it is entirely different. If we say guava, the winter crop is eliminated due to untimely rains during the summers, and there is no winter crop because of the excessive summer crop. In mangoes, the fruit set is poor because of high temperature, abrupt high temperature during March, at the end of the March or April, when the day temperature is about 25, 35, and the night temperature still is about 15 degree, and the embryo abortion takes place. Lot of examples are there in each crop. The story is entirely different, and we have to develop for different crops different type of strategies. So this is a
Yes. Say.
this is the question of Dr. Thomas.
Anyway,
So I partially
see, in certain fruit crops, protected cultivation, precision farming are some of the answers for this climate change. Let us not forget about that. The strawberry, you can have it. The other crop, papaya, you can have it. Banana, you can have it. So that is one of the answer to this climate change, and I think we will prevail upon that with different things. Then, okay, next question. Next question, madam.
The next question is by Dr. Patel. Sir, indeed, pleasure listening wide coverage of future technologies. Can you please tell us 4 to 5 key areas where research should be focused for next 5 years to improve quality of the subtropical fruits? So already I have flagged one of the most important issue is that we have to think about the tolerance for two important deadly diseases. One disease is mango wilt in case of mango wilt. Another important area is tolerance to the Melidovany interlobi. These are the areas where if you don't think about the answer in near future, our industry is going to definitely be impacted. Three other areas are there. You have to work on the delay, particularly in subtropics, how you can manage the flowering time if it can be, particularly in case of mango. In guava, another thing is that how to eliminate the crop if the nature is not with helping you, particularly for the summer crop, the flowering which is taking place in April and May, that has to be eliminated. If the water is there due to rains, intermittent rains, how to cope up with it. So these are some of the areas I can discuss with you. Areas are there where we can work for that. It is very much required.
So Patel sir, bring all the modern technology to the fruit production and make them dwarf to the extent possible and do the high density planting which we keep on singing in the song. That song is beautiful one and will give the result and giving the result. Everything is hidden in that. Means manageable fruit tree. Manageable fruit tree, I say that. Manageable from all angles, involving all sort of technologies. Just simply press button wala and or the machine wala robotic, all that is become easier for that. I think that is the answer for that. Since there is no more question, Damodaran Saab, would you like to add something? Though you are getting a chance to speak in detail, you will get good 1 hour. But here also, if you want to add something, you are welcome for a few minutes.
Yes, sir. It has been a very exhaustive presentation and very thought-provoking, sir. Actually, some of the ideas where sir has flagged also, we can promote it, especially for that how Carbova rootstock in mango has been used for tolerance to this mango wilt for Ceratocystis. Like that, can we exploit our polyembryony research has to be done, because we were working on rootstocks where waterlogging initiates some of the extensive waterlogging, and these are all the predisposer for the wilt disease, Ceratocystis and other things. And our rootstocks where we were discussing about the ML2 and ML6,
Oh yes, you will have a full session for that. So friends, we had a wonderful talk. There is a questions are not there, only that much was there. Those who have got questions, they can directly deal with Dr. Rajan. He will be too happy to answer these. You know his nature. He loves the subject. He loves to explain the subject, which we have witnessed just now. So Dr. Rajan started with the importance of the fruit crop, flagging the important fruits. And then the thing which I liked, he said is not the quantity but the quality is important. Please make a note. Quality is important. And the technology for quality also have to go side by side with the quantity. He has rightly pointed out that is not that a consumer prefer that particular pigment he will purchase. But now the public educated, they know what is there inside that. Whether only the cover has got the antioxidant or the pulp also has got the antioxidant or other nutrients or other useful things in that what we are looking for or what for we are paying. The consumer is becoming educated. So all the things are important. It's not that we should ignore the appearance. No, if the good appearance is not there, fruit won't sell, won't get the consumer preference. Then he dwell upon fruit crops, and everybody will dwell upon like that only. The canopy of the fruit crops, unmanageable. Though since centuries we are managing it, but now it has become unmanageable because we are equipped with so many things, and we see that those tools and techniques and technology can be employed to manage the canopy of that to the benefit of the farming or the fruit farming. So let us bring all those technologies here. The fruits are amenable to, I think most of the technologies people are talking on the earth these days, particularly these your drones and robotic. I consider in case of the fruit production, they are much more needed and will be much more useful than any of the other crop production, because here the things are difficult. The canopy of a mango tree, if you want to spray on that, how do you manage? You go on lifting the bucket and the sprayer and then see upward, and the spray is coming on your eyes and whatnot, all sort of things. So there should be a drone sort of a thing which can give the even spraying and the desired level of result. So is the case with pollination. Pollination is very important in fruit crops if you can do the proper pollination. And your butterflies and honeybees are not going to be lost. They will be further multiplied on that because the acreage is on the increase. Acreage is on the increase. You see what was the acreage under 1947 and now. So you can see that. Likewise, it's very difficult to summarize Dr. Rajan's talk. He has talked, not almost is difficult to talk about, but most of the things related with the Indian fruit industry in terms of technology required. In terms of technology required, he has talked almost all the things and cited the example what is important, what is not important, where it is possible, where it is not possible, where we required to pay attention. He was very right when he said the cadmium. He made a mention of cadmium. Cadmium, we have got those who do not know, the largest nursery, fruit nurseries in the country. And we are supplying the seedlings from there. If the seedling has got the disease, you are not supplying the seedling, but you are spreading the disease. That's what he cited the example. Please take it seriously. We should take all those things, otherwise you will have, as he has said, the melanogain new species has entered, which was not there. And see, I congratulate Dr. Rajan for tackling on the Damodaran also in subsequent talk. Someday we will talk about that. These people have handled the most drastic and most prevalent disease, fusarium. I congratulate these scientists, really. I have seen the havoc caused by Fusarium in Gawava. I come from the western UP. Our guava orchard was washed off totally. We were deprived of even having a look on guava tree. It went to that extent. And Fusarium has really created all that. And I congratulate you people that you people have found out the solution to that. The country should recognize all the contribution of you people. So, friends, I think I can go on talking, but I am not allowed on health ground to talk, so I stop here. We had a wonderful talk and very exhaustive one, very useful one. Those who have missed it, kindly tell to your friends. They can see the video which is available on YouTube and Facebook. They will be definitely benefited. And such a material at one place is not easy to get it. So with these words, I congratulate Dr. Rajan, and I'm thankful to him for his hard work, because it takes a lot of labor to compile all these things and putting them in a short time, less than 1 hour, conveying everything in a conceivable and understandable manner. It takes time, require a lot of hard work. So congratulations, Dr. Rajan, and thank you so much. I'm thankful to Damodaran to be
Thank you,
with
sir.
us today, and request him again to come prepared next time, whatever topic. I don't remember. I think your topic is in
Yes, sir.
banana
Yes, sir.
fusarium with something like that.
Yes, sir.
So, and kindly send your photograph for preparing the
Yes, sir.
flyer.
Yes, sir.
And I'm thankful to my daughter, Rachana Singh. She introduced Dr. Rajan. I don't know whether Rajan liked the introduction or not, but for me, as far as I'm concerned, the father is always satisfied. She did a good job. I'm thankful to Shivangi also for all time supporting. I know how busy she is these days, but despite that, she doesn't say no to me. Thankful to Shivangi, really obliged that despite of your very busy things, you are accommodating us, and just I'm sure you also love the talking of the scientist at this platform.
Yes, sir,
You,
definitely.
you must be benefited with that. So with these words, we just thank one and all, and meet next Sunday with another topic: future of protected cultivation. Future of protected cultivation. I was talking about that fourth crops also. So let us see. And very experienced person is going to talk. Dr. Pitam Chandraji, he is very well known in this field, and though he loves to talk about the light, the role of light in these greenhouses, but he will be covering the other aspects also of this. So with these words, thank you so much. Anything you want to convey, Dr. Rajan? Anybody?
No, sir, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, Shivangi. Shivangi is missing. Anyway, okay.
Yes. No, sir, we are done.
Acha, okay. Thank you, Ji. We meet again
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
the
everyone.
next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay.